Thank you for tuning in to Tamara for Georgia. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, your candidate for the United States Senate. I'm an independent Democrat that believes that reparations will make America great. It is time that we unite our country once and for all. Please go to my website. It's tamaraforgeorgia.com. And please join me every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here for Tamara for Georgia.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tamara Johnson Shealey Show. This is the qualifying edition. This is a big week. We're here to support her. How you doing today, Tamara?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being my host. Look, you are the host of the show.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Trahern Cruz, y'all. If you haven't seen a previous broadcast, he's been on here before. Introduce yourself, brother. Tell him activist, advocate, all those things that you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Trahern Cruz. I'm an activist, BLM activist here in Minnesota. I'm a reparations activist. Also, we passed the St. Paul Recovery Act, which is one of the biggest. We're the biggest city in America so far to pass the reparations resolution. Right now, we're working on something called the Minnesota Migration Act, which establishes reparations at the state level. And we might have a couple guests here to join us to talk about that with you too.
Yes, yeah, we do. I can't wait. I see them in the background. So I just want to thank you, Mr. Cruz, for all the great work that you do up in Minnesota. Thank you.
Can I say one last thing?
This is your show. Look, let me stop. Let me be quiet.
We also, in the last 12 months, we sent 5 killer cops to prison, including Kim Powder, Derek Chauvin, Tutal, and Derek Lane. So we're really excited about that. And we want to keep pushing on that and hold police accountable.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay, we have a couple guests that I think might join us and bring us in.
Yes. You have Mr. Zen is here, but his mic is off, so hopefully he'll come back on and turn his camera and his mic on. And Representative John Thompson is here. Absolutely. I don't know. I'm excited. I saw him in the background. I'm like, so for those of you, Mr. Cruz Trahern has agreed to take over. And we're going to talk about my qualifying, who I am as a candidate, how we're moving into this new election cycle. These midterms are here, and this is our time. America is, America. There's a reckoning happening. I believe that after that we're post-COVID, quote unquote, but there's a reckoning that's happening, and it is our time. We gotta strike while the iron is hot.
While it's hot, and for those of us who might be in Minnesota or in other states, because it's a little different in each state, what is qualifying week?
So qualifying week here in Georgia is where we are officially declared as candidates. Most of us are already running. Everybody's already running, but this is the week where you actually go to the Capitol here in Georgia. So if those of you that are interested in joining me, hit me up, send me an email, let me know, and I'll be glad to tell you the date and the time that I will actually be qualifying. So it's all week long. It's a week-long event here in Georgia. When you go into the Capitol, you have Republicans on one side qualifying, you have Democrats on the other side. They don't co-mingle us. I think they know that it would be like off the chain in this state. So they don't co-mingle us. So you have Republicans qualifying on one side of the Capitol. But we're all in the Capitol together. But I'm just saying they're on one side and we're on the other side. And it's where you officially declare your candidacy with the party. So again, I'm a Democrat, and I will be running for the United States Senate right here in the great state of Georgia. So I'm excited. I'm ready. And, you know, reparations, y'all, it is time. And reparations, part of my slogan is reparations will make America great. So I have messaging that will appeal to the Republicans. And I'm looking forward to carrying this and taking this to Washington.
No doubt. And Mr. Thompson just let us know that Minnesota House File 3850 is the. Good morning, Mr. Thompson. How you doing? That's our state rep here. He's an actual elected official, so has an office in the Capitol. And so I've been, when we speak to people like yourself who are running for higher office, I think it's good to have another Black official on there so that we can see that this is something attainable, that this is something that you're actually in a race. You might be a senator, Tamara, in a couple months here. So we just want to be here to talk to you first, you know.
Yes. And I appreciate it. You know, it's us who are activists and those of us who have this fire inside of us. I didn't know I was burning up on the inside. I didn't know this lived in me, like, until I started to see the injustices. And I'm sure you probably have some similar stories where when you see it brings something up in you and ignites something in you that you didn't even know existed. And I didn't know that this was in me, but I'm committed and I'm ready to take our issues to Washington. So thank you, Mr. Representative John Thompson. Look, Trahern, look, let me be quiet again. I'll let him introduce himself.
Representative Thompson, could you introduce yourself? And if you have a question for
and he might want to bring your camera up to your face, sir. Yeah, lift it up.
How's that? Is that better? Can you see me?
Yeah, we want more of your face. Yes.
So I'm Minnesota House Representative John Thompson. I represent St. Paul, Minnesota, in our district. I'm actually just post Black History Month, but I'm Black History every month. But post our February month, I'm actually the first African American male ever to be elected into this seat in this district ever in the history of Minnesota. And so I'm honored to be somebody. And just like you, sis, I've never been a politician. Actually, I thought our state capitol was a museum. We take our kids to. But you'll keep in mind, after the murder of my friend Philando Castile, I promised them in 2016 that we were going to put people in positions to remove some of these people who've been occupying these seats, uncontested seats, for years. Mm-hmm. So like Brother Trahern, actually, be honest with you, Brother Trahern actually motivated me to run because he ran before me, you know, and that's the new protest. Honestly, that's the new, we still, and Trey will tell you, I'm still right there on the front lines with the activists at any rally, at any direct action. I'm right there because ultimately it's the people that matter over the political rhetoric here in this state. But I'm honored to be carrying the Minnesota House File 3850, which is the Minnesota Migration Act, which establishes funding, provided to study and develop reparation proposals for descendants of the chattel slavery and who reside here in Minnesota. And so, Trey, you know, and I know that this Minnesota, Duluth was one of the first places, the last places that 3 Black men were hung here in this state.
Right.
2 hours from where we're at. And so those people traveled, they bought tickets from all over the state to travel to Duluth to watch that public hanging.
Yes, sir.
Those people had grandkids, and those people had grandkids. Those people that watched and cheered the hangman on, and the cracker with the whip, they had grandkids, and their grandkids never left the state of Minnesota. So that ideology never left. But they forgot, they tried to bury us and forgot we were like seeds y'all planted in the ground. Here we are. So again, I'll shut up too, because I want to hear more about.
And so because of that lynching that happened, we introduced the Minnesota Migration Act that establishes an anti-lynching law in Minnesota. How would you feel about something like that, because of what happened to Emmett Till Ahmaud Arbery and stuff down there. What kind of laws would you put in place to address that legacy of lynching in the United States?
Well, we just found out, I just saw on the news, I think this past week, that the lynching bill was passed in the House. So we are one step closer. You heard that too, Representative? Yeah, so we're one step closer. We just got to get it passed over in the Senate. And I'm ready. Let's have the conversation. Let's continue to push. You know, I intend on wielding all of my power. You know, they say when you come to Congress, you're a freshman legislator. But I say I'm not in high school. I'm not a freshman, nothing. You have one vote, I have one vote. Let's negotiate.
No doubt. And Mr. Thompson, you can talk about that a little bit later. I'm gonna just ask her, like, what's the most important, what's your platform right now, or what's the issues you're running on?
Yeah, I'm a reparationist, Trahern. I mean, I know a Tremaine, so Trahern. I'm a reparationist, and I'll just tell you that it's the core of who I am, and this agenda, this to me is how America will heal. You know, we have to be we got to figure out how to get this right as a nation. And our healing is at the core of it. And reparations, I believe, will make America great. And this is how I'm going to bridge the divide with this messaging. I spent a lot of time on the ClubHouse app, Trahern, and I've been talking to a lot of conservatives and a lot of Republicans. And you know what? They're listening to us. You know, they're listening to us. So at the core of who I am, I'm going to fight for reparations, because I believe that is the healing and the reckoning that needs to happen in this country for us to move forward as a nation, to be this power that we say we are as the United States, this global power. We need to fix our problems at home first.
No doubt. And so, considering where you're at in Atlanta, mm-hmm. kind of home of Stone Mountain, Georgia's there, you know, mm-hmm. everything like that, how would reparations impact the Black population in your state?
Well, here's where reparations is for those of us who are, of course, descendants of chattel slavery in this country. This is for all of us. This is not just for Black people here in Georgia. This is for those of us who are descendants who we're all over this country. We're scattered all over this country. And this is the blanket policy that we need. And I applaud. I know that they say reparations it's not local. What you are able to do, like over in Evanston, what you're able to do up in Minnesota, it's not reparations because it doesn't repair the masses of us, but it is a step in a start. And I'm just glad that we're taking these steps. We can't just sit and wait. We have to do what we can, even if it's incrementally, you know, even if it's just in part. Let's do all we can. Let's continue to push, because the argument is still being made that, you know, reparations it has to happen. So I applaud you for what you're doing in your prospective states.
And I think it's important that we do have this conversation so we can say, well, this group feels like this isn't reparations, or this group feels like it doesn't, then we can come together and figure it out. So just for not to harp too long on it, but I know Jewish Americans aren't going to let nobody off the hook. They're not going to, the people from the Holocaust would say, if you were involved with slavery at the local level, then the city is responsible for it. So like the state of Louisiana, they own slaves, mm-hmm. not the federal government. The state actually was owning slaves, and then we're getting investments off that. So like Wells Fargo's own slaves. U.S. Bank owns slaves. So it's not just, there's cities, states, counties, and the federal government all owe us reparations, but then so do colleges, so do private institutions. But I'd like to, as far as where, you know, Joe Biden talked about fund the police, and they say crime is on the rise in certain cities. Us being Black people, how would you address the crime, so-called rise in crime?
Yeah, you know, crime to me, and we know this, it is the direct correlation to poverty. Get people out of the situation where they're desperate. Help help people to not have to feel like they have to do certain things just to survive. I mean, we understand that it's directly, the correlation is poverty. And reparations, I bring everything back to reparations. When you start to repair us as a people, that is where we can, we can eliminate crime.
Absolutely.
It ain't magic. It ain't something that's like hard. This is, to me, it's like a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And that's when people have money, I believe that's a great answer. Mr. Thompson, did you want to follow up, especially about being a freshman? Because I know you're in your freshman year too.
In case I don't get to talk to you, we've been referred to judiciary, finance, and civil law. But I want to talk to you anyway.
Okay, no doubt.
But I just was looking at this bill. When I first our first orientation as a freshman legislator, they said, Representative Thompson, well, freshmen are supposed to, take it all in and just observe. You're not supposed to make too much noise. And I said, I don't know why y'all ran for office. I didn't run for office to be quiet because I don't have time. We honestly don't have time to be quiet. And if y'all worried about me, which a lot of our colleagues are worried about me, I talk too much. But if you're worried about me, you should be, because there's thousands of John Thompsons doing push-ups for the next election cycle. We're not just here, all across the United States of America. People are opening their eyes. And one thing that I do know about Black people is I can remember when the Boston Celtics were the top team and the whole team was white. Was Robert Parrish and Larry Bird and all of those white folks, man. And before you know it, man, we're doing 360s in the air and taking over the NBA, the NFL, golf, tennis, you name it, baseball. I remember baseball was all white. The Grammys, before you know it, and so we're about to put a lot of color in these crayon boxes. And I'm so serious. I'm saying that without blinking an eye, because I'm watching the paradigm shift happen. People are no longer tying themselves to parties, right? Somebody just asked me, "Hey, John, if you don't get the endorsement, will you abide by the DFL endorsement?" I said, I don't know what you guys are understanding about me and a lot of other politicians, but what we're doing is bigger than any political party. The parties are just a machine, to get there. But we going to November. And I said that, and he said, "Oh, well, when you win, now we can change the conversation, because we're no longer we got to attack the problem and not people with parties, because they let us down all the time." And so as a freshman, I made good on my promise. And so I guess if I could offer you just a little bit of advice on the campaign trail, just a little bit, I probably preach it to the choir. Ask everybody for money.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, let's go there. I'm gonna tell you. So this is not my first run, Representative John. This is not my second. This is not my third. This is not my fourth. This is my fifth consecutive run for office. I ran for the Georgia State Senate 3 times, 2014, 16, and 18. In 18, there was a win. And there's a whole story behind it. The party operatives inside of the party primaried me. And the woman now that sits in that seat after I did the work, she's sitting there off of my work for 3 election cycles. And that's another story. But I ran for the U.S. Senate in 2020 for the first time, and now back again because it was a special election. This will be a 6-year term for 2022. So I'm back here now, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm great on the ground. I love people, but my biggest shortcoming, and you know this too, probably, is raising of the money. That has always been my biggest obstacle. Everything else about this campaign, I could do with my eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back. I'm great. But when it comes to raising the money, that's just not my thing. I struggle, and I shouldn't have to struggle, because I have a great message. I have a great campaign, but I still struggle with the fundraising. And I ask everybody for money, but here's where I find the people that I talk to are regular, everyday people, and they give you what they can, but it doesn't add up to what the establishment candidates can get, because they can get somebody to stroke them a check and write checks all day. but it's harder for us as grassroots candidates to raise the money. That has always been my obstacle. And I do ask, and I'm asking now. So y'all see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
No doubt.
Donate, y'all. Donate.
Volunteer, donate to TamaraForGeorgia.com right away. This is a serious week she has coming up, and she needs as much money as she can. Good morning. Yes. We don't like asking for money, she said, but we definitely need it, and we need it for these campaigns so we can get reparationists in seats elected so they can implement these reparation policies across the country. Could you talk about the housing situation in your district, and what, like, if there's any certain programs that you are? I know there's reparations, but anything else that you'd like to add on to that too?
Yeah, homelessness here this is a statewide run. So homelessness, is near and dear, because it's hard for me to drive through this, particularly the city of Atlanta. I live about a half hour outside of the city, but when I drive into the city, it literally breaks my heart, because you cannot stop at a light, or you can't just be driving and not see encampments where people are living in tents around our city. And I always wonder, like, how do you live in the city of Atlanta and not see this and it not bother you to the extent that it bothers me? It literally hits me at my core. So homelessness is an issue that I will definitely be addressing. I can just tell you that I myself have been homeless, so I know what that feels like. My father is a mentally ill man, and he's homeless, and we've tried to help him. We've tried. All my life, it's been an issue, and I can just tell you that. So it's near and dear to my heart, and I think that. So those of you that don't know, I am primarying the Reverend Senator Raphael Warnock here in Georgia, and I would have hoped, if nothing else, he would have addressed on the forefront homelessness. We need to declare homelessness as a public health crisis. We're in crisis mode when you have people living on the streets, and you just that's a crisis to me. That's a sense of urgency.
What do you think Mr. Warnock should be doing to address that? Is there anything that he has done, or anything the previous person has done?
I haven't seen it. Now, he'll have to speak to what he's doing and what he has done. That will come as soon as we qualify. That's why I'm excited. Next week, those are where the tough questions and the rubber meets the road. Like, what have you done? What have you done? And I know, as a freshman legislator, Representative John Thompson, I don't believe, and you can probably speak to this, that your hands are as tied as they want you to believe they are. I think that, again, you have one vote, they have one vote. You need me, I need you. So I don't see why freshmen why they even use that word, as if you don't have any power as a freshman.
He says, I know this guy, man, right? We had Tent City here in St. Paul. And I was actually like documenting Tent City. One of the brothers didn't want to be on camera. He's like, man, don't put me on camera. The brother said, man, I got a job. And he actually showed me check stubs where he's bringing home like $1,500 every 2 weeks. He said, them people take my money, like, and he's saving up to like buy property, but they take his money. You have to do an application fee here. He said, them people take my $75. He said, some of them don't even call me back. But the ones who call me back say, man, we can't get around that felony you had. He said, I had a felony. I've served time 10 years ago. So I said, I'm sorry 10 years ago. So this has become like we're creating homelessness. The other thing is we had the Super Bowl here in Minnesota. And you just saw how they cleaned up our homeless problem. Like, the homeless had somewhere to go when the NFL came here. And as soon as the NFL left, y'all get back out here on the streets, and we Tent City again. So we create these problems and act like we can't do anything about them. And then when you call them out on it, it's like, oh, you're the angry black woman. You're the angry black man. I have it damn right. Don't stop playing the race card. Well, I got a handful of cards. Like, so how am I playing the race? I got a handful of cards you keep dealing with. But I know that we can do something about the homeless problem. But who wants to help, something that I profit off of. Like, we profit off of incarcerating Black people here in this state a lot. We profit off of, like, our pain is profit for other people, and also political talking points.
Yeah.
People talk about getting tough on crime, but won't provide funding for mental health providers. So we can go. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we can go. But honestly, like, the time is up, and they know that time is up, because we have people like ourselves actually, like, coming for those seats.
No doubt. So yeah, Miss just as in, so when we're talking about housing, when we're talking about this, we're talking about budgets. And then there's so Mr. Thompson can also talk about this, but I know it's in Georgia too, because we're talking about federal funding. So there was money that came from the CARES Act, and then there's a American Rescue Plan funds. And we know with the American Rescue Plan funds that some of those funds are supposed to go to people who were hit hard by COVID, basically like Black people. But now it's not really, it seems like it's not happening. So what could we do better to make sure that Black people are getting their fair share, whether it's Black businesses or Black NGOs? How do we get our fair share of the pie?
Yeah. I just want to see us as a people become more unified in our efforts. And I know Representative John could probably speak to this. We have to be on code. We all got to get on code. We got to put our blinders on, and we really got to, be on the same path to what we want and what we need, and demand that from our legislators. Demand that and threaten those seats. We don't send people back to office who don't give us what we are demanding. Like, we just got to get on code as a people. And I get excited because I, like, with the reparations movement, I do believe that because we're all saying the same thing. We're all beating the same drum, that now we have a focus. And,
right.
And I believe that with this newfound focus, again, I think COVID, with this great reset and how things, I believe this is a shift that's happening, and we're about to really, come to the forefront. Like, the last shall be the first, and the first shall be the last. And I think this is our time. I feel something very different in this season. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like, there's something different that's happening. And if we focus and demand the things that we want of our legislators, I believe it can absolutely happen.
No doubt. You want to chime in on the federal funding, Mr. Thompson?
Hey, we got here in Minnesota, we have a $9 billion surplus, and it's predicted to be even more money here in the state. We're one of the richest states in the United States, but when you look at the disparities you see here, like, we have the worst education gaps in the nation. We have the worst housing disparities in the nation. Like, and this is but one of the richest. Like, we can't even, like, they complain about, like, giving our kids a hot lunch and like cold cereal. Where we gonna find the funding for that money? But we're one of the richest states in the nation. And so for me, Trey, for me, it's like, cut us in or cut it out, because you can no longer tell me that I don't even, that conversation never comes out of any legislator's mouth when they're talking to me. When I ask for funding, they can no longer say, well, we don't have it, because you do have it. Just reappropriate the money and put it in places that's needed. Right. We have the money here, but here's something I do know is Black people, we are starting to show up. We are starting to organize, strategize, and mobilize our people here in Minnesota. Like, I don't know if y'all watching Minnesota, but we sick of dying here. And so, and I'm talking about by the hands of the police, violence as far as the gang violence in our communities. And we're not asking for more public safety. We're asking for more public dollars to be spent in our community. Right. We can provide safety for our own community. So we know for a fact, like, Trey's not the only one that's watching this $9 million surplus.
Yes,
sir. They'll cut it out. And they can no longer tell us that where we gonna find the money, because I see farmers here getting it, a lot of farmers getting it, and I can only find 3 Black farmers in this whole entire state. So there's a clear disparity right there that we see. Unless y'all gonna produce some Black farmers in here, we need some of that farming money too. You know what I mean? So I'm right here where the dollars are at. I'm watching how the money's being spent, and I'm also saying to our legislators, cut us in and cut it out. And that's just the pardon my brash delivery, but come on now, I can remember my grandmother being a renter. You know what I mean? So let's be clear about my message. I'll leave it there.
No, and just so that because some of the issues we're facing here, I'm pretty sure you guys are facing down there. But so he just brought up the farming aspect, and I know there's been some issues with some Black farmers across the nation trying to get their fair share. So as senator in a state where there's you're elected senator, how would you address because we've lost millions of acres of land as Black people. If we would have got 40 acres in a mule, we would be supplying America's food supply right now, you know. So in farming is a multi-million-dollar business when people get involved in that. So how would you address, you know, Black farmers or getting more Black farmers back, especially in the state of Georgia?
Yeah, and you know, Georgia is a beautiful state, and a lot of our rural areas is a lot of farmland. It's a lot of farmland. I'm native Georgian, and you know, the Black farmers here, they're hurting. They're hurting. They don't get the opportunities as the white farmers, and we know the statistics of where we once were with farmland versus where we are now. But I do see some light, because I see a lot of community gardens and community farmers, smaller scale gardeners, not necessarily the big farms, but I see some light there, because in the urban areas, they're really trying to figure out how to feed the communities where they are. But the bigger farmers here in Georgia, yeah, they definitely need more resources, and I'm committed to fighting for them. I'm actually I'm working on a listening session right now so that I can specifically know what they want and how I can specifically help them. But they'll have to lead me in that and saying, this is what we want specifically. And I'm committed to fighting for them. And I know that, you know, when we use the word Black, it makes it racial. And then that's where we've gotten struck down in the Supreme Court. And, you know, when we use those, but here's where I get it again, I tie everything back to reparations. Because when we make this lineage base, because those of us that are here that are Black, we are descendants of chattel slavery.
That's right.
As we start to think about strategically how we get those resources, we have to tie it all back into reparations. Because when we're defined, those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, when we're defined in the law that way, we're able to address and get those resources that we are rightfully deserve. So again, I tie everything back to reparations.
No doubt. Mr. Thompson, could you chime in on just some of the bills here where we're kind of not getting, or how we get phased out?
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about, because he's kind of saying what we were just talking about a little bit ago.
So when you were just talking about farm, remember old MacDonald had a farm. Like, I honestly know here in this state, the Black man, like that Black man don't even own a farm here. Old MacDonald done phased out. But so I asked for funding here for African American farmers here. To not because we only have 3 I've identified in the entire state of Minnesota. There's only 3 Black farmers. But I've asked for pathways. These are career pathways that have been snatched out of our schools and out of our community. But you know who was actually the farmers raising the cattle and picking the cotton and plowing, tilling the land. Like, we know, we taught y'all how to farm. But I asked for money to be appropriated so that we can create more African American farmers. And some of our older colleagues said, well, you can actually tag your language onto my language, and we will have to amend your language, because we can't use the word African American. Our senators won't allow it, right? And so I'm fine. Okay, that's fine. We'll just use BIPOC. That's what they wanted to use. But BIPOC, honestly, and when I looked at the bill, the final package, there's $250,000 allocated to the Hmong American Partnership. There's $250,000 for the American Indians. There's $250,000 for the Latino Economic Development. And then there's $75,000 for BIPOC. Now, keep in mind, everybody above the BIPOC line can dip into the BIPOC pot because they identify as BIPOC. Does that make sense? the Asian Americans, the American Indians, the Hmong Americans, and the Latino Americans. They identify as BIPOC, and so the being BIPOC never gets the money. So what I've done now is any bill I actually propose, I use the term African American, simply because you can't tell me no to that, because African American is a protected class that you actually, because we don't want to be called African American either. We don't want to be called BIPOC. We don't want to be called colored. We don't want to be called nigger. We just want to be called people. But if you're going to classify, like we never seen a white bill have it for white folks or Europeans. We never see any of that. But we always see like these labels for us. And that's to honestly like keep us out of the funding. So they just keep on changing the name. I tell you what, I like the American descendants of slaves, African-American descendants of slaves, because that really like smashes it in your face of who we really are. But also, if we're going to ask for funding for African-Americans and you tell us no, then are we really a protected class? Because I'm asking for money just like the American Indians. Last thing is, bro, when I asked for the $474 million to be pumped into our community in these different areas like housing, mental health providers, teachers of color, culturally intelligent behavioral health, like jobs and economic development, contracts and procurement. Like I asked for some of this money to be pumped into these areas because the federal dollar does state that you should be putting this money into our community, a percentage, and we don't even meet the bar. Somebody said to me, $474 million, are you asking for reparations? And I'm like, hell no, that's not even a down payment. $474 million is not even, that's not even a down, but we can have that reparations conversation, brother. Like, honestly, either cut us in or cut it out. Either cut us in on the resources or complain about carjacking. Like that's the other, that's your other alternative. Either cut us in on the resources and the tax dollars that we spend, or complain about gang violence. Because post-COVID, who wouldn't rob somebody? You only gave us a $1,300 stimulus check. You know what I mean? So, I'm sorry, but I get real passionate, man. So sorry about that.
No, but so this, and this is.
Let me speak to him real quick about one comment you made. Here, go back to that African American. This is why we have to delineate. Those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, we are not African American either, because African American are those that who have migrated here from Africa. Those are African Americans. We are descendants of chattel slavery. We have to have, this is a part of my agenda in Congress, first of all, for us to be defined in the law, those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery. We need a delineated legal definition that says who we are. And then once we get that established, then we can take it and y'all can implement it however you want in your prospective states. But that is a part of my agenda, to have us legally defined, those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, because that is where it is us Black people, foundational Black Americans, Black first, freedmen, those of us who are ADOS, you know, all of us who are part of these different FBA, all of us, like this is us. We got to be first defined in the law so they know who we are as foundational Black Americans. So I just wanted to tell you, I know you're probably, this is where it could even go off the rails, even when you say African Americans, because those are migrants. Those are not, that's not us.
No doubt.
Have you noticed that though? I guess this is just my question. Have you noticed that, like, every time we get to the doggone, every time we get ready to score, they move the goalposts on us.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we get ready to score, they move the goal. Have you noticed that? Mm-hmm. So when you get that, because you will get that pass in Senate and you will win. Mm-hmm. And since I love you, I'm only speaking things into existence. Words have power. So you will win, and you will get that into law. When you get that into law, they're gonna move the goalposts. The tactics never change, just the faces.
Well, reparations is gonna make America great. So here's 3 talking points. Tremaine, can I just share this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I have to ask permission for today. So here's how reparations will make America great. First of all, it's gonna stimulate the economy. This is the conversation I have with Republicans and conservatives. It's going to stimulate the economy. We're not going to get the money and put it under the mattress. We're going to spend it. It's going to help all the way around, help this nation all the way around. The second talking point that I have with them is that it will lower your tax burden. You know, they're always touting taxes. This will lower your tax burden. Reparations. My third one, and this is where I think they really hear me, is that we will either eliminate or reallocate monies from dead end social programs. I'm not asking them to print more money. I'm not saying, never saying that. I'm asking them, I'm telling them that what we could do is these dead end social programs that our fellow Democrats have us locked into. And this is where I'm gonna tell you where I got this from. I got this from a girl on Instagram who was offered $2 more an hour on her job, and she would not take the pay raise because it would affect her housing vouchers. She did the math. She knew, hell, if I take these two little extra dollars, I might lose my voucher for my housing, and then I'm gonna have to pay more. So the math doesn't make sense. So a lot of people, Black, those of us in this country, are locked into these social programs. So let's reallocate or eliminate monies from these social programs, and let's create this reparations administration. My goal is to create this federal agency, the reparations administration, that mirrors the Social Security Administration, the VA, where you are going to cut the check, in addition to the additional resources that we need to address us and start the process to repairing us as a people. So we need a federal agency. So that is my plan for when I get to Congress. We can't hear you.
Thank you. Wow. Is there any more? That is a great plan, and we're really excited about it. For people who want to donate, I know it's here at the bottom of the screen, but could you just and for other media people who might want to get in touch with you, who are going to see this, for all you watching, you can watch the rebroadcast of this program at www.blacktvs.com or Black Watch Television on your Roku channel, and it should air tomorrow around 9 p.m. Central Time. So come back and watch the rebroadcast of this. Share this with your friend and donate to Tamara for Georgia and other progressive candidates who are pushing reparations, you know. And when people come to you and ask for your vote, ask them, do they support reparations? If they say, and are they fighting for it? And if they say yes, then we give them a thumbs up. If they say no, we give them a thumbs down. And that's how we got to move. And that's what Tamara's talking about being on code. This is Mr. Thompson's first time being on this show. But as you could kind of see, we were all on code. So that's what this is about. This is going to keep happening throughout the country. We want to keep bringing Black people who are running for office in the midterms on the Trahern Crew show, on Tamara show. We're going to have public officials who support reparations and support the Black agenda, like Mr. Thompson and Ms. Shealey on the show, so we can talk about these important issues and get this message out throughout the whole country. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the Tamara Shealey show this morning, getting up early. I'd like to thank John Thompson, State Representative John Thompson, for joining us and pushing MNHF 3850 so that everybody in Minnesota, all lawmakers in Minnesota, sign on to that. We need to hear for that, and that needs to pass in the legislation house ASAP.
Hey, make sure that I have Sister Tamara's information, and I'll drop my information in the chat. But I think we should connect, and I think that a lot of the resources that I have, I should send your way also, because I tell you what, we're gonna need everybody, and I swear we all trying to get to the same place. We're just in different cars in different states. And so I appreciate you, my queen.
Yes.
I appreciate you. Thank you. And if they're not talking crap about you, it's because you're not doing nothing. So don't let that detail you for work. Hey, I love y'all, man. I gotta hop off too because my wife got me an haircut appointment, so I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta get ready real quick.
It was nice to meet you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Make sure you send me that. I'm supposed to send you some money. Make sure you send me. I send my information in the chat.
I will. You know I will.
Right. Call you in a minute, sir.
Okay.
All right. And Ms. Shealey, man, just again, want to congratulate you on your run. We're gonna be donating to your campaign. We're gonna be phone banking for you. Whatever we need to do to get you across the finish line. You got help up here in Minnesota, and Zen's down there in Texas, so they're gonna be helping out too. So
you know what came to me last night, Trahern? What came to me is that those of you that left the South, because all of us are rooted here, we're all rooted here. And those of you that left the South, and you're we're activists, you're activists all over the country. It's like you feel it, that something's happening here in the South.
Right.
There's some sort of drawback to us here in the South, because many of you left and many of you said we ain't never going back down there, so you don't have but there's a draw here, and the draw is the work that's being done that is coming out of Georgia, South Carolina. We have Marcel Dixon over in South Carolina that's getting ready to run, that's running against Jim Clyburn.
Whoa.
Myself, I'm running against Senator Warnock, because we can't just have Black faces in high places. We got to have the people that are committed to the fight and not afraid to say the word Black. You're not afraid to fight specifically for Black people. Other communities fight for their, they fight for what they want.
Yeah, if we can get Mr. Dixon on whenever you get a chance or next week, and so we can just keep pushing and promoting you guys. People need to see and hear this powerful message that you guys are pushing out. And one last thing I'm gonna say about the migration. You're talking about the Great Migration, though. So that's why this bill, MNHF 3850, is called the Minnesota Migration Act, because we migrated here from the South to escape white supremacy and institutional racism, but found it here. And that's why we have the worst education gap in America right here in Minnesota, the worst housing gap, the health, the worst disparities reside right here in Minnesota, because we migrated here from where you're at today, and our people in the South or Texas and Alabama. So yeah, we're excited about the reparations push that you're doing, and we want to just keep collaborating throughout your campaign. So looking forward to coming back on the show or bringing you on our show too when you got time to.
Yeah, I appreciate you, host. We have a few more minutes, just about 3 more minutes before we shut us down. But I just want to thank you for again all the great work. All eyes was on Minnesota. All the turmoil and everything we've been watching y'all across the nation. So, and I know you've been right there because you got the receipts to prove you've been right there in the midst of it, fighting for us. So I just want to tell you, thank you for all the work you're doing in Minnesota.
Oh man, God bless you. And thank you guys down there too. Because you guys were going through it. It was Ahmaud Arbery, right?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery happened right before Anthony Trifoletti killed Douglas Lewis. A lot of people don't hear about that. But that was a white supremacist who did a road rage killing. Then right after that, Ahmaud happened. Then George Floyd. So all those things was happening simultaneously. And we've been this fight been happening here in Minnesota, but it's happening there too.
And it's happened. We have other cases as well. We have Kendrick Johnson. We have and his name is totally escaping me. Was shot 76 times by the police in Atlanta.
Rashard Brooks.
Rashard Brooks was one, but there's another one. Oh my gosh, it's escaping me right now. It's just so many. It's so many that we just got to continue to fight, and we got to continue to continue to push. Like we're not gonna, they come for one, they come for all. Like exactly. You come for one of us, you coming for all of us, because we're not gonna stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you say that website one more time? We want to encourage people to donate, volunteer.
Yeah. So please go to my website. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey. The website is Tamara for FOR. Georgia spelled out.com, Tamara for Georgia. I just ask that you go to the website. I ask that you donate. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Tamara Shealey, SHEALEY. I'm actually on Facebook too with Tamara Shealey and Tamara for Georgia. But I just encourage you, please take a look at where I stand on the issues. This is a fight that I believe we can win. We can win. I believe that America is time. This reckoning that needs to happen. It is our time. I see this generation as our civil rights movement. This is our time. And I just believe that this is going to happen, and we're going to see this come to fruition for our children, our children's children, our children's children's children. This work is for the generations to come. And I'm just glad that we're in the moment. I'm glad to be in the moment.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to host your show today. look forward to it. Hopefully in a couple of weeks, we're going to let you host the Trahern Cruise Show.
Yay!
Come in and hold it down real quick.
Yes. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you tremendously. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, brother.
Congratulations, too.
Yay. We name it and claim it. Qualifying is next week. Thank you.
We'll look forward to you being our next senator from Georgia.
That's right. I say this, Trahern, I don't care where you are in these United States, I will be your U.S. senator. My door will be open. I will not be one of those senators. Well, I'm not your, no, I will be your U.S. senator.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you. All right, everybody. Qualifying is next week. Qualifying is next week here in the great state of Georgia. I want to thank again Mr. Trahern and Representative John Thompson for joining me on the broadcast today. Y'all, this is my, y'all know this is not my first run, not my second, not my third, not my fourth. This is my fifth consecutive run for office. And I tell you, this campaign has been the hardest. It has been the hardest for many reasons. And I'm sure I'm going to write about it. It's so much in me with this campaign that I know I'm going to write about it. This race to the United States Senate was something very different. But I'm asking you to go to the website. We have a race that we can absolutely win. Are we trying to compete dollar for dollar? No. With any other candidates? No. We know how to make it do what it do. That's what I always tell everybody. We make it do what it do. But I'm asking you to go to the website, Tamara for Georgia. Tamara for Georgia. You see it scrolling across the screen. Go to the website. Make a donation. Be intentional. We have 11 weeks from Tuesday. And I'm counting down. We have 11 weeks from Tuesday to ask other people, tell other people, share the broadcast, share and talk. And 11 weeks. This race is May 24th, 11 weeks from Tuesday. Qualifying here is next week in Georgia. I will be qualifying next week. I'm ready, and this is our time. So I'm just asking you to go to the website, do what you can, make a donation. We have a race to the United States Senate that we can absolutely win. Reparations is at the top of the agenda. I can take every argument from, every argument that can be made. We can bring everything back to how reparations could help. Every issue, reparations. I bring it all back to reparations. So I just want to thank you guys. Be on the lookout for the announcement for the day that I'll be qualifying next week. It's all week. So I'm still toying with what day and what time do I want to do it. It will be done, and you'll get the message. Go to the website, everybody. Thank you. I want to thank again Trahern and Representative Thompson for joining me today. This was phenomenal. So I will see you guys this week. Y'all pay attention. Go to the website, spread the word. We have a race to win.
When we come to Washington in this campaign, we're coming to get our check. Young prodigies. Free. Reparations, Martin said we coming for our check. Reparations, say it loud, 1, 2, mic check. Cream, cash rules everything around me. Dream, my legacy, you can't stop me. Coming for our 40 acres, HR 40 and our paper.
Kicking the door, coming for our 40 acres and more. Our 6.4 trillion. Miss said no, we fought the Civil War.
We came from the poor. Free, man. Start from the bottom, we me them racks. All fat, just a match and a little bit of gasoline. 4 girls got burned back in 63.
400 years, yeah, we still ain't free. I rise, we rise, taking it,
Capping it. Reparations, Martin said we coming for our check. Reparations, say it loud. 1, 2, mic check. Cream, cash rules everything around me. Dream, my legacy, you can't stop me.
coming for our 40 acres, HR40, and our check.
We stuck in the trap with no shoes, trying to pull up bootstraps. Increasing the gap. Wealth got bigger, so we had to adapt. Discriminated cause we black. I know it worth more than I know it's a fact. They tryna feel scraps. Strike me on board so we can't come back.
30 years ago on April 19, Yusef and Trahern chemical read.
If it happened to them, think it happened to me. It's Cubans, I'm ready for